Welcome to this week's podcast. We're back and continue our conversation about Larry Bird, basketball phenomenon who captured the attention of the nation with his exceptional skills and his unique persona. His rise to fame, however, wasn't an overnight sensation. It's this captivating journey that we've talked about, from headed to Indiana University to the loss of his father to spending a year as a garbage man and playing AAU basketball. It's filled also with thrilling games with a dedicated fan base at Indiana State that understood him, his country charm. This week, I want to offer another glimpse into the 1978-79 season, when Bird led those Indiana State Sycamores to an undefeated regular season. It culminated in a thrilling victory against Wichita State, which was televised nationally by NBC. This game marked a turning point, not just for the Sycamores, but for Bird's national recognition. Before this pivotal game, despite his talent, he remained largely unknown. It was the persistent efforts of individuals like Rex Lardner, the NBC sports programming chief, Al McGuire, a college basketball analyst for NBC, that finally brought Bird to the national stage. They recognized his talent and pushed for a national broadcast of a Sycamores game, a decision that would soon pay off for NBC. There was also this growing popularity of college basketball during the era. It coincided with the decline in the NBA's appeal. Factors like the lack of a dominant dynasty and the increasing number of black players in the NBA were maybe some of the reasons for the NBA's slump. People have also speculated about some of the issues with drugs in the NBA. It's hard to pinpoint. Of course, there's the possibility that Bird's race played a role in NBC's decision to showcase Indiana State, adding another layer to the narrative of college basketball's resurgence. The anticipation for the nationally televised game against Wichita State was palpable in Terre Haute, Indiana, where the Sycamores are located. The excitement wasn't confined to the basketball court. It permeated the entire community. Local businesses, including car dealerships, capitalized on the Sycamores' popularity. NIL, anyone? The players, embracing their newfound fame, adopted a tough guy image, complete with cowboy hats and boots. I think that's been brought back recently in the NBA. There's someone on the Raptors that keeps wearing that look. I'll have to put a link in the show notes. There's a vivid picture of the atmosphere, too, that I researched through the sources about the atmosphere at Holman. The games became more than just sporting events. They were happenings with fans engaging in unique rituals like tossing toilet paper in the air. The team's success brought the community together, created this sense of pride and a shared identity. It's the best that sports have to offer. Bird's personality, a mix of talent and humility, resonated with fans. He had this country charm that I mentioned before. There's always something in his interviews where it seems like he's the most humble person in the world until he unleashes the most wicked and cocky thing imaginable that could be said. He was a star player who spent time at the local haunts. There's all those stories, of course, in the NBA, even for years, where he'd go out and get a beer or drank Charles Barkley under the table with his Budweisers. And he connected with people who knew him before his rise to fame. And he had a genuine fondness for the kids that would come up and want to get his autograph or who were excited to meet him. Researching this season for the Sycamores also highlighted the challenges that they faced leading up to the Wichita State game, including a blizzard that threatened to cancel the game due to leaks in the roof at the Holman Center. The game went ahead thanks to the dedication of the maintenance crew and student volunteers who worked tirelessly to ensure that the court was playable. The game itself lived up to the hype. Bird put on a show, showcasing his all-around skills, including his impressive ability, drawing comparisons to NBA legends like Bill Bradley, Bob Cousy, and Indiana State dominated Wichita State, winning by a comfortable margin. The Sycamores' victory cemented their status as the number one team in the nation and was a testament to their hard work and resilience. I think concluding this episode, I want to underscore the significance of Bird's performance in the Wichita State game. He not only captivated the audiences with his basketball skills, but he made this lasting impression, something that cemented or began to cement his legacy, his quiet demeanor and focus, one that could be even parodied. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but there's a clip of Nick Kroll parodying Larry Bird. And of course, the best thing about parody or satire of these legendary figures is that even though they're absolutely ridiculous, there's something that rings true. In this version, he has this horrible back like he did at the end of his career, only it's the beginning and he's still in French lick. But even then, you can imagine that creaky version of himself later. Something about it just made me smile. I'll have to put a link to that as well. This national audience had finally witnessed the phenomenon that was Larry Bird, and his legend had just begun. Now, I want to pass it on to you. What do you think were the key factors to Larry Bird's rise to fame? How did the changing landscape of college basketball and professional basketball intertwining in the late 1970s impact Bird's journey? What aspects of Bird's personality resonate most with you? I'm also curious if anyone would want to know how I put these episodes together. I've had quite a journey this year, stepping away from the way I was producing the podcast and using this new tool called Google Notebook LM or Notebook LM. And if you are interested, leave me a comment or send a text through the podcast, and I may do an episode explaining the process if people are interested. If you are a fan watching Indiana State versus Wichita State in 1979, I would love to hear from you. Having that first-person perspective on some of these games is often some of the most fascinating stories I hear. That's all we have for this week. Join us next week for episode 10 of Iconic Seasons 1979. We're going to start our race to the finish. The culmination of this season is going to go through the Final Four with Michigan State and Indiana State, and then we're going to break down the games, the Final Four games and the championship game with a more traditional setup where I'll have one of my co-hosts back. So if you enjoy that style of podcast, it's coming soon. I appreciate everyone listening. Until next time, keep your dribble low and your eyes up.